Let me describe why the Bible, which is pretty much neck and neck with Islam, is wrong. They're all Luciferian systems. Let's start with the obvious. There were people in Africa with a superior martial arts system and religion, so the Jews are not chosen. I urge you to watch the next video as we explore the martial art idea and see why this is actually true, and it must be the case. It's insane not to see it that way. Number two, no one but the martial artists can prove that they are in the spirit. Who believes them and why? When we see a bunch of shells and socially normative cowards believing evangelical ninnies, and pretty much every church is a variation of that, certainly we know that this couldn't possibly be the spirit. Number three, the Bible relies on reason and sense, and then they put the emphasis on faith. That is very telling. To believe a nonsensical, inferior interpretation is evil. Number four, the spiritual order must be Igbo over Western pirate converts, which is what the Mediterranean peoples were, the Nordic people were. These were all pagan savages, and they say so themselves. When wicked men convert to Christianity or some true system, and they have been in the breeding cycle of wickedness for as long as anyone can remember, certainly as a group, they must be seen as lower than righteous martial arts societies who are giving and loving like many African societies were, where the Igbos are the bell that rings the loudest. Okay, and it doesn't take very much research to quickly come to that conclusion, and the more research you do, the more painfully obvious it becomes. The works of Rome and the churches give it away. So when we didn't do this, what happened? We see the masses of people who call themselves Christians are rapists and murderers, and they do so from a position of privilege. You know, majority races like whites in America, where there are tons of white women that are willing to have sex with them and so on and so forth. This is their culture they're in. They have no reason to be greedy and to put extras on things and to go out of their way to be control freaks if they do that. Certainly, you know them by their works. Rome killed Jesus with the Jews, right? They're accomplices to say the least, but they were in charge to say the more obvious. And they ordered the execution of Jesus. They allowed themselves to be fooled, and they reaped the rewards from generations of controlling the people around them. The rape of the Sabines comes to mind. The Bible is not infallible because it comes from the people who killed Jesus. Jesus did not say, believe the words in this book. And he certainly didn't say it to us. No matter how you slice it, they testify against themselves by saying the Bible is infallible and that you know them by their works. And their works are those Westerners that are the most greedy, most murderous, the biggest rapists, the most corrupt nations known to man. Underdeveloped nations' corruptions is a result of trickle-down corruption. It is not a result of their own corruption. These were fairly peaceful people who were conquered by more violent, murderous, and unfair people who forced their inferior religion on people with an inferior perspective of that inferior religion. I grew up, for instance, not believing that you should go to church and not reading the Bible. And I came out with a much higher moral standard and a much greater willingness to sacrifice myself for good than everyone else in America. We see all these church-going people, they're cowards, they're racists, they're liars, they're hypocrites. They don't understand the basic messages of the Bible, which include sacrifice, and Matthew 10, a willingness to sacrifice your life. The spoken word of God, the Spirit goes into you in Matthew 10. I am sending you out like sheep among wolves. And it goes on to say, the Spirit, at that time you will be given what to say, for it will not be you speaking, but the Spirit of your Father speaking through you. Okay. What spirit is speaking through the churches, or what Luciferian energy, rather, if their output, their works, is a bunch of scum who come to them every Sunday, and they're still scum? How do you achieve that if you're not evil? The Bible, right? Bisexual. Is it true? Yes. Look at Westerners. They're bisexual. They're LGBT people. They're the main movements, and they have the nerve to shift the blame. You know? Believe it or not, they try to say that this is coming from somewhere else. You know? In this time. Did it start somewhere else in Babylon or something? Yes. Is it coming from somewhere else? Nothing could be further from the truth. These are the bisexual bullies. Bible. It's by the bull. They're bisexual. For whether or not the wordplay is sound, the idea that I'm expressing through the wordplay is sound. The Bible gives the Luciferians the upper hand as they control the rate of light in the general population. In the general population. Not the transcendent individuals, but the general population. In the absence of another book or explanation, God's elect must be the martial art order that ends with me, even in their own language, right? Latin-based language. Wake up. Let's break it down. Wake up. Key. W-A. Way. Key up. Key up in martial arts. Awake. Alpha, right? Way. Key. To wake up, you can only wake up in martial arts. Now, in the martial arts, in American martial arts, are you kidding me? America has the most martial arts schools of any nation in the world. Why is it that Americans are so evil, corrupt, out of shape, and greedy? We have probably the highest obesity rate in the world, the most overweight, the most dumbed down, we consume the most drugs here. How could that be? If your churches are effective, then how is it that these are your works? If your martial arts systems are effective, how come everyone is a fat idiot, so to speak? How could that be? Well, it's right there in your stop sign. It's red, the color of evil and blood. Stop backwards is pots. We know about the interchangeable vowels. Vowel to L. Puts, pits, pets. We remove the T, the feminine suffix. For example, bat from the feminine suffix T. And we get bas, ba for the soul. We get puss, step, and pats. What stops the spirit? When you pot it, when you put it in a pot, in the pit, in the abyss. Pets. When you treat people like they're animals instead of people for the wrong reasons. When you have the wrong pets, the bull, the snake, the jackal, the wolf. When you're focused on women, puss, and you're acting like pussies. What steps you take, you're making the wrong steps. And you're giving people pats on the back. You're rewarding them for their ill-gotten gain behavior, for their immoral behavior, for their iniquity, if you will. It's straightforward. So we have three wise men, right? Quote unquote wise from their own perspectives. We have Pharaoh Haroeris, the true martial art order of God. We have Lucifer Serapis, most evil, unnatural. These are kids. The other two are kids. Wizard, Grand Wizard of the KKK, magic card, gypsy bitch shit. And who do they fight against, right? A knucklehead, Deontay Wilder, right? He's athletic, he's in the flesh, but he's a knucklehead. And then we have the satanic animal, kind of LaVey, Anton LaVey, Michael Aquino, Shrek, right? Animal, evil child. So you have the evil child, you have the whiz kid, smart but immature, and by default evil. He's the most evil because he calculates more effectively than the kind of trailer trash animal that can be easily controlled. So the only one who's good is the martial art order. Right? This is the true life. So let's look at the slave direction of society, right? Number 1, religious slavery. Number 2, forced drugging. Number 3, debt slavery, plea plan, slave wages. Number 4, denied pure anything, right? I'm denied drinkable water. That's why I have taken on this despicable form, really. But it also, it's despicable and it's respectable at the same time because I'm the sabotage hero. So this form is actually more respectable in its respective context. And women are that much more shallow, you know. This is really God in its glory in the flesh. And we see Jesus in a similar form, right? Merry Christmas, Merry Christ Mass. It's right there in the wordplay. Fasting, he's skinny, he's tall and skinny, and he's starting to look sickly because he's persecuted, not because this is his culture. He's persecuted by the meth head, drug pushing pharmaceutical culture